Dragon Ball Z
Kakarot
will be one of the best Dragon Ball games of all time. Yes, I said it. Yes, I said it.
But Rhyme, how do you know this? You only played the game for 0.3 seconds. How is that enough to know that the game's good?
Well, to answer that question, me playing that for 0.3 seconds on a beta against Raditz of all people, it kind of gave me an idea how the game plays, and it's enough for me to understand that I'm going to enjoy it. I'm actually going to have fun with it. But before we get into that, we kind of got to understand what makes anime games bad. What makes them bad? Think about it. Think about it for a second. What is it about anime games that makes you angry? In the comment section below right now, before I get into it, I want you to pause this video, go comment what makes you mad about anime games, and let's see where the community overall stands. But I'm willing to bet that at least, let's say 80% of the comments will have to do with something to do with online. The online experience always ruins these games. I mean, think about it, think about it, think about it. Yes, the games are not perfect. If you look at an anime game, usually they have no comparison or don't even come close to AAA titles. Like AAA titles, they put a lot of love into it, a lot of time, but usually with anime games, they're basically cash grabs where they're trying to turn around real fast within a year or two, and that's not enough time to make a game. But what ends up happening that I guess really ruins these games is when you get into the online aspect. Like, it's really easy to kind of focus on the single player aspect of the game and kind of like nail that. Look at the Storm series. The Storm series offline single player campaign has always been spot on. I mean, there was a couple times where it's like, yeah, they kind of got lazy with it. For example, I think it was the last Storm game that had like the slideshows. Was that 3? No, that was actually the last one, wasn't it? They had the slideshows that I was a big fan of, but when they had those animated fights, beautiful. Look at Xenoverse. Xenoverse had a pretty decent story, I'd say. Again, it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty fun to experience the whole time travel aspect of it. But again, the thing that ruins anime games usually is the online experience. Let's look at a recent game. I play this game a lot, Dragon Ball Legends. Yeah, I know, it's a mobile game. Ryan, why are you talking about a mobile game? I'm getting to it, hold on. Dragon Ball Legends is a lot of fun. Whether you hate mobile games, love mobile games, it's a lot of fun to play some of these games, especially Dragon Ball Legends. What ruins Legends, which is literally a PvP-based game, is when you get into those matches that are so laggy, they make you just want to punch your phone. And there's nothing you can do about that. You get into that match, either you just you forfeit and just hold your L, or you try to power through it and just get angry the whole time and just are just pissed for about 2 minutes worth of playing, and there's nothing you can do about that. Unfortunately, it's because some people play on 3G. Some people might not have good connections in general. Or you get into that match where it's like a modder or something, and they're over here cheating, and again, it's out of your power. Your experience is ruined because of online. Look at Xenoverse. Xenoverse is infamous for this. Xenoverse's online is a huge mess and has been since day one. Now, when you play with the homies, you can't deny it's a lot of fun. You know, one of the reasons why I still only pretty much exclusively play with homies is because I know what to expect when I fight them. If I fight C-Reacts, or when I used to play against Jaden Tastic, or even Lotus back in the day, I knew what to expect, and it was always fun going into this fights. But if you go into a random match in Xenoverse, you're going to run into people who are doing one of 3 things. Number 1, they got the builds that if they hit you one time, you die. 2, you got the horrible connections where literally you'll get stamina broken across the entire map. Or they'll just pop out of all your moves, or you'll do a combo and they'll literally just slide out of it. Or 3, they're hacking and modding. And again, that's out of your power. They just shoot you one time, you die, experience is ruined. Xenoverse was not designed to be like this, but it was really designed for it to be a game that you can mod or just have horrible connections in. I guess they probably saw it as a game where you fight your homies, you can have a lot of fun, but you can't. And another game to kind of think about is pretty much any anime game that has online. There's always the online aspect that kind of like takes away from the experience. Kakarot does not have that. I can't stress that enough. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is not an online game. It is not a multiplayer game. It is a single player RPG experience. And that's why after playing it, I know what I'm getting. I'm getting 2 things. 1, I'm getting the original Dragon Ball Z story, going from the Raditz saga all the way through Boo. Potentially more. We don't really know yet. I mean, we still have a couple months before the game comes out on January 17. But you're getting that. And 2, you're getting a single player RPG experience. I feel like once a week at least, I always see a thread on Twitter or on my comments or like on Instagram. I always see people talking about,
why is Kakarot not multiplayer? It needs to be multiplayer. The game's gonna die after 3 seconds.
That's because it's not designed for that. Trust me, you don't want that. Think about it. I can't think of a single RPG, action RPG that started as a single player and then added multiplayer where it worked. I think Final Fantasy 15 actually did it, but I never see people talk about that. So I don't know if it just wasn't good or what the deal is with that, but RPGs usually are meant to be single player. Not saying they all have to be, but they're meant to be because they're designed that way. Usually what happens is if they end up adding multiplayer later, is to kind of add like a longevity factor to it so people can still play through those who are really passionate about it. But really, like what they're designed to do, which is to deliver a single player story, they do pretty well. Kakarot is going to do exactly that. Because again, if you like Dragon Ball Z, going from the Saiyan Saga, I got the manga behind me, going from the Saiyan Saga right there, going from the Saiyan Saga all the way through Buu, if you enjoy that story with more, because obviously you're going to get that extra lore, like actually seeing the connection between Android 16 and Gohan, for example, or seeing the new Ginyu Force member, what she had to do, whatever, seeing all the extra stuff, you're going to have fun playing this game. Like the actual game itself, it's going to have its own issues. It's not going to be perfect. Let me just say that. It's not going to be a perfect game. You're going to get repetitive fights. You're going to get into situations where you have to basically fight against the same Pilaf robot probably 1,000 times to get to the next level so you can beat a boss. You're going to get into situations where it's like really tedious to go from point A to point B in the map, probably looking for like icons and stuff on the actual overworld. There's going to be a tedious aspect of it. But again, that's kind of expected with RPGs. That happens all the time. RPGs are games that are meant to be like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 hours plus. I don't know how much time we're going to expect to do on Kakarot. I mean, usually anime games are a little bit shorter than, you know, the average RPG. But we're going to get kind of a handful story, if that makes sense. And because of that, I feel like there's no way that you can get that game and then, like, be surprised with what you get, if that makes sense. I mean, obviously, like I said, you don't really know. For all I know, it could be a pretty short game for an RPG. And then next thing you know, you got nothing to do. You spend $60 in a game that you beat in 5 hours. What happened? You're not going to have a good time. And on top of that, there's no online, I guess, aspect of it that's not gonna make you want to come back and play more again. Maybe you like with Kakarot at best, or at worst, I would say, you beat it once within like, I don't know, 10 to 20 hours, and then you come back to it once a year or something, which may or may not be worth the sum of you guys. But again, this is important to know right now, so you know what you're getting. Again, if you're going into Kakarot expecting a Xenoverse, you're not getting that. Just because it has battle systems like Xenoverse, where it's like a 3D arena, does that mean that's how the game plays? As I mentioned before, to kind of explain, the combat is very simplistic because it's meant to be basically Legacy of Goku, but on consoles. It's meant to be simplistic where you're tied down to basically one button for your actual combos, and then you can link them with the super attack and stuff like that. You got your transformation and everything like that. And it looks beautiful when you're doing it. Again, you can't deny that CC2, when they do these offline single-player campaigns, they look great. Storm did a good job on this. The only time where I really like critiqued Storm was when they decided not to have actual animations. And sometimes they had those like slideshows that were like, yeah, this is what's happening and that's what's happening. It's like, come on, I've seen Storm 3. Storm 3 is one of the most beautiful looking games when it comes down to the story. And like, I know you guys can do better. But like with Kakarot, I have not seen anything like that shows us that we'll get those slideshow type of things. So for all I know, they're all gonna be animated really well, and it's going to be beautifully delivered. So it's like, how can Kakarot not deliver what we're getting, if that makes sense? Again, the thing that always ruins these games is the online aspect. Now, I know this is being that one game that people are gonna bring up, because I had this conversation with Afro the other day, and Afro was like, okay, well, what about World Seeker? World Seeker was not a good game. It just wasn't. World Seeker looked beautiful, walking around the overworld, but the problem with World Seeker is they didn't have like a battle system. You're just kind of like walking around, you see the enemies, and then you just kind of fight them right there on the same screen, and it was pretty wonky and clunky and just didn't really work well. What Kakarot does different that World Seeker should have done is they don't go into these battle phases. So for example, you know how like for example, Pokemon. When you walk around the grassy areas of Pokemon, what happens? You go into battle mode, they toss out the Pokemon, and you fight them basically in that battle system. Final Fantasy, the original Final Fantasy games, you're walking around, and then you go into battle system, you fight whatever, you do X, Y, and Z. What Dragon Ball Z Kakarot does that One Piece World Seeker probably should have done is when you're moving around, it's different than moving around in an actual battle. Like you got your flight system where you're flying around the overworld, or you're running, which I still think looks pretty clunky. At times when you like walk around the map, it looks pretty like weird and doesn't feel natural. But when you go into battle mode, it feels more, I guess, built that way, if that makes sense. I feel like they built the battle system first, and then they added like the overall system where you can like fly around and stuff like that. Because you go into battle mode, you're not really experiencing the same clunkiness that One Piece World Seeker did. I mean, at least that's my opinion. For all I know, maybe you'll play both games, you'll think they're exactly the same. But again, the thing that I'm trying to basically just say in this video is because it doesn't have that extra variable in there, how online will work, there's not a real way to be disappointed with the game other than the fact that it'll be repetitive. You play once and done, and then that's it. Like again, you're getting just an RPG. It's very, very important to stress because I keep seeing these conversations all the time like,
why is it not multiplayer? That's a big mistake.
And to answer that question, because it's not designed to be like that. So the point is, it's because Dragon Ball Z Kakarot doesn't have the extra variable and you know what you're gonna get. I don't see how the game can be like failing. Again, I'm gonna say this is not the best Dragon Ball game of all time. I'm just saying it's gonna be one of the best. It's probably gonna be on people's top 10s easily. My voice is cracked. Top 10s easy just because, again, it's gonna be very simplistic. It's gonna deliver exactly what it's giving us, and that is the Dragon Ball Z story plus more. And I don't see how they can screw that up. Of course, we are talking about Bandai, so that could very well happen at launch, but we'll see what happens when we get to that point. But overall, though, what do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the whole online factor being missing and that being a good thing for the game. Do you agree, disagree? And then what are some overall issues you think that could happen with the game itself based on what you've seen? Again, you know, I've seen people say stuff like that the battle system could be better, which I agree. I mean, no game is perfect, and every time I see these betas come out or when they reveal more gameplay before the actual release of a game, they always have stuff that they can improve upon. But again, after me playing the game, like, to me, it was kind of weird playing at first because obviously it was a new game and I don't know all the controls, but it worked. It worked with what they were trying to do. The only thing, like I said, that I never really liked was the movement because it kind of felt weird and wonky, but that's just in the overworld, and I feel like the more you play, the more that becomes natural, and then the less you notice, if that makes sense. But overall, though, like I said, the story aspect and the actual battle system, it works pretty well for what the game's trying to deliver, and I think that's what they're going to absolutely nail when this game comes out on January 17th. So yeah, let me stop talking right now and just kind of end the video, but I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Again, I might be wrong. For all I know, when this game comes out in January, it's going to be just hot garbage, and then here we go, getting bamboozled again by really, really flashy, pretty-looking trailers. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know how the game's going to be until I actually play it, but based on what I've seen, I don't see how they can just, I guess, miss the ball with this one, if that makes sense. So yeah. Okay. It's going to be interesting to see what the people say about this, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We can kind of have a discussion. Again, be nice to each other. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Even if you severely disagree with me, by all means, go for it. I don't mean to make people follow exactly what I say to the T. I want you guys to have your own thought process, and let me know what you're thinking down below, and then we'll have a conversation around that. But otherwise, thank you guys for watching. My name is Rhymestyle. Stay tuned for more Dragon Ball Z Kakarot as we get more stuff revealed over the course of the future. And like I said, as of right now, I'm on a hype train. Legacy of Goku on PS4, Xbox, PC. I'm all for that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.